Richard, they called him Lionheart. He was strong and brave. He was ready for war. The knights loved him. The people cheered for him. They would follow him anywhere. Richard was going to fight in the Crusades. He was going to take back Jerusalem. It was a holy mission. God was on his side. Or so he believed. Richard stood on the cliffs of Dover. The wind whipped at his cloak. He looked out at the sea. It was a long way to the Holy Land. He thought of the battles ahead. He dreamed of victory, but a shadow lurked in his heart. He was not sure. Was this what a good king should do? Lead his men to war so far away? Richard remembered his father's words. A true king, his father had said, protects his people. He does not abandon them. These words echoed in Richard's mind. Was he doing the right thing? He pushed the doubt away. He was Richard the Lionheart. He would be victorious. He would make England proud. The journey to the Holy Land was long. The ship sailed for weeks. The sun beat down on the men. They grew tired and restless. Richard, too, felt the strain. One night under the desert stars, Richard met a man. He was dressed simply like a monk. His eyes held a deep wisdom. His name was Elias. "You are troubled, Lionheart," Elias said. His voice was a soft murmur. Richard was startled. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am but a guide," Elias said. "I have been sent to help you find your way." Richard was skeptical. What could this man offer him? He was a warrior, a king. But there was something about Elias that drew Richard in. Maybe it was his calm demeanor. Maybe it was the wisdom in his eyes. Richard felt drawn to him. He felt that Elias could help him. He decided to listen. Elias became Richard's constant companion. He did not fight. He did not carry a weapon. He walked alongside Richard. He spoke softly. He asked difficult questions. "Why do you fight, Richard?" Elias asked one day as they walked through the endless desert. "For glory," Richard answered instantly. Then he paused. "For God," he added less surely. "And what will you find in Jerusalem?" Elias pressed. "Victory," Richard declared, but his voice lacked its usual fire. Elias smiled. "And what is victory, Richard? Is it the clash of swords, the cries of the fallen, or is it something else?" Richard had no answer. He looked out at the endless sand. The desert seemed to stretch forever. Elias's words echoed in his mind. What was he fighting for? What would victory truly bring? He felt lost. The journey to the Holy Land was fraught with danger. Richard faced many enemies. He fought bravely. He won many battles, but his heart grew heavy. He received word from England. His brother John was plotting against him. John wanted Richard's throne. Richard was furious. Betrayal cut deep. He felt alone. He turned to Elias. "Why?" Richard cried. "Why would my own brother do this to me?" Elias listened patiently. He placed a hand on Richard's shoulder. "Sometimes," he said gently, "those we are closest to can hurt us the most. But their actions do not define you, Richard. You choose your own path." Richard's anger slowly subsided. He thought of his father again. He remembered his disappointment when John had betrayed him years ago. Was he destined to follow in his father's footsteps, to be betrayed by the ones he loved? Finally, Richard's army reached Jerusalem. The holy city shimmered in the distance. The sight stirred something in Richard's heart. He thought of his purpose. He was here to take back the city for Christendom. But as he looked at the city walls, he saw something else. He saw families huddled together, fearful of the coming battle. He saw children playing in the streets, oblivious to the impending war. Elias stood beside him. "What do you see, Richard?" he asked softly. Richard looked at him, his eyes filled with doubt. I see innocence," he stammered. "I see people who will be caught in the crossfire." "And what will you do?" Elias asked. Richard stared at the city. He felt the weight of his decision. Should he attack? Should he unleash his fury upon the city? He closed his eyes, remembering Elias's words, remembering his father's disappointment. He made his choice. He would not be a pawn in a game of war. He would choose a different path. "I will not fight," Richard announced to his stunned army. His knights were furious. "We have come so far," they shouted. "We are here to fight for God." Richard raised his hand. Silence fell. He looked at their angry faces. He understood their rage. He had felt it too. "We have fought enough," Richard said. His voice was calm but firm. "We have shed too much blood. True victory lies not in conquest but in peace." He removed his helmet and placed it on the ground. "I will lay down my sword," he declared. "I will not be a party to more bloodshed." A hush fell over the assembled men. They had never seen their king so determined, so at peace. Some still grumbled, but most looked at Richard with newfound respect. They realized that their king was a man of principle, a man willing to choose peace over war. Richard returned to England a changed man. He renounced his crown. He had no desire for power. He had seen enough of war. He wanted only peace. He found it in a small village. He lived simply. He helped the villagers. He taught the children. The villagers welcomed Richard. They had heard tales of his bravery, but they were surprised by his humility. Richard did not talk about his victories in battle. He spoke of the lessons he had learned. He spoke of the importance of peace. He spoke of the need for compassion. Life was peaceful. Richard spent his days working the land, sharing stories with the villagers. He found solace in their simple lives, their genuine warmth. He had found a different kind of victory, a victory far greater than any he had known on the battlefield. The children of the village loved Richard. He told them stories of his adventures. He taught them about courage and kindness. He showed them that true strength lay not in might but in compassion. One day a young boy asked Richard, "Were you not afraid in battle?" Richard smiled. "Of course I was afraid," he admitted, "but fear is not weakness, it is a part of what makes us human. True bravery is not the absence of fear, but the courage to act despite it." The children learned much from Richard. They learned about the world beyond their village. They learned about the futility of war and the importance of understanding. Richard, the once mighty warrior, had become a teacher, sharing his wisdom and experience. Richard lived out his days in the village. He was no longer a king, but he was respected. He was loved. He had found peace. He had found his true purpose. He realized that true victory was not about conquering lands or vanquishing enemies. It was about conquering oneself. It was about choosing peace over power, love over hate, forgiveness over vengeance. And so Richard the Lionheart, the warrior king, found his true calling not on the battlefield, but in the quiet heart of a peaceful village. He discovered that true greatness lay not in power or conquest, but in compassion, in wisdom, and in the courage to choose